Welcome to This Daring Adventure podcast, where we work on bridging the gap between where we are and where we want to be in order to live a bigger and bolder life. In this podcast, we will provide inspiration, tips, and skills you need to make your life the adventure you want it to be. Here's your host, mindset mentor, and life coach, Trista Gurton.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. This week is titled, You Are Not Too Emotional. And it is based on a client session that I had, but I'm not going to get into the details here. But I think it's really appropriate because it happens to all of us. And we end up telling ourselves that we're fine, even though we're not. We dismiss our own feelings, telling ourselves we shouldn't be feeling that way, or it's not a big deal, or I should be over this by now. And it sounds small, right? But this is actually one of the biggest ways we betray ourselves. And I think it's a part of the resistance, and then it just drags on instead of cleaning it up and moving forward and allowing ourselves to experience what we're experiencing as human beings. Let's dive in. So often when you think you're processing an emotion, and I'm big on processing emotions, you're actually just arguing with it. And here's what often happens. Something disappointing or hurtful happens. Maybe a friend cancels, or your partner isn't as supportive as you had hoped, or your coworker takes credit for your work. And you feel that first wave of emotion. Maybe it's sadness, irritation, maybe loneliness. And you do what you've been taught to do, which is to allow and process your emotions. So you sit with it, you breathe, and you say, I'm just going to feel this. I'm just going to allow it. And then it doesn't leave. Hours later, or even the next day, you still feel low. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I processed it. Why is it still here? Here's what's really going on. You might have felt the sadness, but you didn't notice the judgment sitting right underneath it. You've told yourself, I shouldn't still be sad, or it's not even that big of a deal. And the second you judge your feelings, you freeze it in place. It's a type of resistance because emotions don't dissolve when we think we shouldn't have them. They dissolve when we let them exist fully without arguing that they shouldn't be there. And so what I tell my clients is, especially with some of the more intense emotions, it's not going to take just one and done. You can sit and allow and process your emotions, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to go away. That might work well in some situations, but not in every one. And that's okay. It doesn't mean anything has gone wrong. There's a layer beneath that feeling that continues. And often the sadness we feel isn't the whole picture. There can be a second emotion hiding underneath, something like irritation, resentment, or self-dismissal. Maybe the real thought behind your emotion is he should have tried harder. She should have cared more. They should have noticed what I needed. And when we don't examine that thought, it leaks out sideways, right? We say we're fine, but we're snappy. We withdraw. We clean the kitchen aggressively. Any of this sound familiar? The real issue isn't that other people aren't doing what we want. It's that we are not standing up for what we want. We're abandoning ourselves in the name of being reasonable. We tell ourselves it's not worth it. It's fine. But inside there's a quiet voice that knows, no, it is worth it. It is important. I am worth it. Now, I'm not suggesting you start demanding everyone around you change, because that doesn't work, and that's not power, that's dependence. What I am saying is this. There's a huge difference between blaming someone and advocating for yourself. So Blame says, you need to fix this so I can feel better. Advocacy says, this matters to me and I'm willing to figure it out. One puts your emotional life in someone else's hands. The other puts it back in yours. When you take responsibility for what you want and say, okay, this is important, let's find a solution. You stop being the victim of circumstance and start being the author of your experience. And this is truly where your power is. That's where confidence lives. Authenticity, not in everything working out, but in trusting yourself to handle what doesn't. And this is the power of telling yourself the truth. Because the most painful part of emotional volatility often comes from this single thought: I shouldn't feel this way. How many times have we told ourselves that? That sentence is poison. It invalidates your human experience, and it trains you to disconnect from your own emotional truth. So, what if you dropped that thought completely? What if you said, I'm sad because this matters to me? I'm irritated because I dismissed myself. I'm emotional because I'm human. That's it. No fixing, no moral of the story, just truth. And it can be freeing. Because when you tell yourself the truth, your nervous system can finally relax. You stop fighting your own reality. And that's when the feeling starts to soften. You're dropping that resistance. So it's time to take your power back. And here's the reframe: you're not too emotional. You're not overreacting. You're simply being shown what you truly want. And when you notice that, you have a choice. You can say, this is worth it to me, I'm going to find a solution. Or you can say, I'm letting this go because I like my reasons. Both are valid. There's no right or wrong answer here, no good or bad. But what doesn't work is pretending that it doesn't matter, because that's when irritation, resentment, and emotional residues stick around. Your emotions are never a problem. They're a compass pointing to what matters most. And when you start honoring them instead of dismissing them, you'll be shocked at how much calmer and stronger and more grounded you feel, because you finally stopped betraying yourself. So today, I want you to ask yourself, where in your life are you telling yourself it's fine when it's not? Where are you making your peace by abandoning yourself? And what would change if you decided that what you feel, what you want, actually matters? Because once you make that shift, you won't need other people to validate your feelings or rearrange their schedules or read your mind. You'll already have your own back. And that, my friends, is emotional maturity. That's emotional adulthood. That's what it looks like to build a solid, loving relationship with yourself. All right, that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here today and listening. If you want, take a few minutes after this episode to journal. Think about what feelings you may have been trying to rush through and what truth have you been avoiding. And let your answer surprise you. That's where your growth lives. And if you have a moment to rate, review, share, and subscribe the podcast, I would absolutely appreciate that. That's how we get it out to more and more new listeners. And if you're interested in getting some help with any of the concepts or the issues that I discuss on the podcast, you can book yourself a free coaching session. That's 1 hour, one-to-one with me. Any issue you wish, try coaching for yourself, get a little clarity, move forward, and I would love to meet you. So the link to my calendar is in the show notes. You can book that. And otherwise, stay tuned. coming up in the next few weeks. I'm going to have a few workshops and presentations and a new program to announce for the new year on change. And of course, you can always join my coaching community on school called You Redefined, $19 a month, get you a 20-minute coaching session with me each month, a private podcast, all my best tools and skills, on-demand videos, worksheets, meditations, you name it, it's in there. And at $19 a month, it's an absolute steal. So I would love to have you come join. And of course, you can try it free for 7 days, no risk. Try it out, see what's there, and I would love to see you there as well. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.